All right.
No, I don't
it's
even
time
know what
to
that
stop talking about our medical problems.
I don't even know what this is. Well, we need to tell everybody, Mika.
No.
So we're on the air, which you can never tell, by the way, Senator, when we're on the air and off the air. So be careful. Be very careful.
Yesterday,
And if you
Professor
hear-
Obama.
Right.
If you hear Joe talking about private medical things, don't assume we're off the air because he has no answer.
So we are
He'll tell
confirming.
you
I watch
about-
you guys. I know that.
Really quickly, we're confirming that taking aspirin, very good, anti-inflammatory.
Good first, both for the heart and cancer.
For cancer. And your brother Ari,
Yeah.
misdiagnosed,
He's half
said it was for
died, doctor.
prostate cancer. You actually say it's for colon cancer. That's great. But saying, like, so I'm taking Lipitor, and I'm sitting at like 230 over the past 15 years, and my cholesterol drops 100 points.
Yeah.
But Mika says there's side effects. It makes her do
There are
strange
side
things.
effects.
Like what?
There are side effects.
Why you
me?
walk around in circles and act like a drunk? Okay, that's one side.
There's muscle.
right
There's
there.
muscle problem.
That might be the whiskey.
It depletes energy stores. So you do.
And
have,
weight gain.
It's also important to have
Weight gain, right? That's why I'm gaining
coenzyme
weight.
Q with it.
Sure,
What is
that's
that?
why you're gaining weight.
Right.
What is that? Co-what?
CoQ. Go into the pharmacy.
Okay.
Oh God.
All right, so Zeke,
But
what do
we're
you-
here to talk about healthcare.
So Zeke,
reform.
Zeke,
Not a free consultation.
Two out of three Americans in the latest CBS New York Times poll are saying they want the individual mandate overturned. I know we're not here to talk purely politics, but let's talk again. What's happened? Why does the administration find themselves on the losing side of this issue after so long?
Well, I just don't think they've done a great job about communicating the benefits of the law, and I think that's been a major problem. You know, you have to separate communication from substance, and on the communication side, they just haven't been good. The law is still an excellent, as I said, it's a very good law. You're not going to get a outstanding A law out of Congress under any circumstance, but it's a very good law, and it's certainly going to make the healthcare system
If
much better.
If only they had a good chief of staff.
Right.
When they were,
Okay.
tell Rob not to hurt me. I
out-
love Chicago.
We should point out that Dr. Zeke Emanuel, aside from being Joe's doctor on the side, is the former White House advisor for health policy, and then
Yes.
we have Senator Ron Johnson.
He brought charts. I'm very excited about
I'm
this.
excited.
There you
This
go.
will explain everything.
You guys are asking for them, so I've got a ton.
What are we looking at here, Mika?
Yeah, what are we looking
is
at?
that?
I have no
That would be
idea.
Obama's broken
tell us.
promise in terms of what he said the cost of an average family plan would be in a year. And he said by the end of his first term, it'd be down by $2,500 per family. In fact, it's up by about $2,200. That's about a $4,900 difference. I'd call that a $4,900 broken promise.
Now, I'm going to hand this Exhibit 1
There you
to
go.
Defense Counsel.
Yeah,
to
is that-
take
that
apart.
seems like-
While you ask the senator, good senator, a question.
Yeah, I'd like to go to what's happening at the Supreme Court here and why we're even here and what is the fundamental problem with the health care law that brings us to this point that you think does not help America go in the right direction.
Well, first of all, let me answer why I think Americans just instinctively understand that this law shouldn't go forward, is because they realize government has no capability of controlling 1/6 of our economy. And they also realize that what is at stake here is our last shred of freedom. If the federal government can actually force an American to engage in a particular form of commerce, buy health care so they can regulate it. That's the final shred of freedom that we'd
And
be
that would
giving
be
out.
the very first time that's ever happened?
Yes, in terms of the government forcing you to buy something.
That's absolutely,
to
absolutely.
to engage in commerce. Yeah.
That is absolutely untrue.
Well,
okay,
tell us what else.
Well,
I got a list.
George Washington required American households to have a gun. In the Heart of Atlanta case, the Supreme Court required people in the South who own motels, own restaurants, to serve blacks against their conscience, against what they wanted. The Supreme Court has required people to get vaccinated against what they wanted. The Supreme Court and the country have long time said that for the common good, for an individual's benefit, you can require people. Congress has the authority under the Commerce Clause to require people to do things for the good of
Let me just say really quickly, hold on 1 second. His brother is a half doctor. and the good doctor is a half constitutional lawyer.
I took a constitutional law class at Harvard Law School,
Let them talk.
and I taught law at NYU Law School. So let's be serious.
All right, go ahead, Senator.
I'm an accountant. I'm a business guy. Okay,
Oh, I
but
love it.
So let's go back to this the basic precedent, the Wickard versus Filburn, which is really what all this expansion of the Commerce Clause has come under.
You just lost 80%.
I know, but this is very simple.
Okay.
That case was about the federal government for not allowing a wheat farmer to grow enough wheat for his own personal consumption. That's what allowed the expansion of this Commerce Clause. That's absurd. I mean, what is a more basic human right than to grow food for your own consumption? And so,
Senator, though, you just made his point. This law,
exactly.
This law, the Supreme Court held up this law. It's from the 1940s. So now you bring up this law. That's 70 years of precedent. Of course, you and I think
that's
that
our
this
problem.
is ridiculous.
We are being held hostage to freedom-destroying precedent. And one of the comments
It's 70 years old. You got to make a different
In the
argument.
last 70 years,
we can't.
Senator, in the last 70 years,
we have given up our
Americans
freedom.
been free? In the last 70 years, have Americans been free?
Our freedoms are shrinking. Our freedoms are shrinking.
Free?
Our
Okay.
freedoms are shrinking. That's the problem.
Hold back, Emmanuel. Let me read this really.
The key.
Let me read this really quickly. First of all, as far as the Commerce Clause goes, I would say that you can compel people to do things, but you can't compel people if they don't want to engage in commerce. But let me.
But everyone has said that there's no difference between buying and not buying insurance for the following reason. You don't buy insurance, you end up in the emergency room, and what happens? You have just shoveled the cost of your care either onto the doctor, onto the hospital, or onto the public wheel through government.
The question legally is
there is no way of staying out of commerce.
Good lawyer, though. Good lawyer. You're actually, though, making an argument in theory that's going to expand the Commerce Clause. Now,
no, it's not expanding it. It's just saying the Commerce Clause.
Of course it is.
The Commerce Clause allows Congress to regulate interstate commerce.
So there's nothing the government can't force an American to do. Is that freedom?
No, I've already said in many occasions you can't force people to buy broccoli. And here's the difference. I'm about to say so. Here's the difference. You would stop interrupting me. We could get to the facts.
Okay, go ahead. Let's do it.
Here's the difference between broccoli and health insurance.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
In health insurance, you cannot have a health insurance market unless you have everyone in the market. And the reason is the healthy people will come out and they'll only come into the market when they need it. In the broccoli market, we have broccoli fine without forcing people to buy it. Health insurance, we've tried the experiment. Don't have it voluntary, and we'll see if people will buy insurance. And we've tried that experiment at least 10 times. It's failed.
Let me read David Brooks.
The only time we've had it work is Massachusetts, where we have
a limited amount of time, and I want us to. So let's go from the law just to being practical.
Okay, I'm happy to be practical.
You are most of the time a practical man. David Brooks, who one of the president's favorite columnists, says, I think the Obama administration made a disastrous error in centralizing so many cost control elements of the new health care system. There's no way government can adapt quickly to failure. There's no way planners can know how many employers will drop coverage, how many doctors will refuse to see patients in expanded Medicaid. Congress won't be able, or how Congress will undermine painful cuts the executive branch does make, how doctors will evade efforts to control their revenue, how doctor shortages will pop up, how spending is best controlled. David Brooks makes a very practical point. A centralized state is not going to be able to adapt quickly to all of these realities.
The healthcare system isn't about a centralized state. The healthcare reform isn't about a centralized
15,000 pages worth? Already 15,000 pages.
Of course. It's
and they've only begun. An unknowable number of new offices.
Let me just say, you have 18% of the GDP, which you're trying to regulate, okay? That is $2.6 trillion. It's the size of the economy.
I know they can't do it.
It's
Government
the size
won't be able
of the
to do
economy
it.
of France.
It's going to fail.
You cannot have regulations. The government has to set ground rules. Those ground rules are going to take a lot of pages. We still have a lot of the free market. We have insurance companies, all the doctors, and all the hospitals.
Let's let the senator have the last word, Senator.
The CBO estimated only 1 million people would lose their employer-sponsored care. There's 160 million people that have employer-sponsored care, and the decision for employers moving forward is: do you pay $20,000 for an insurance plan in 2016, or do you pay the $2,000 penalty? And again, you're not throwing your employees to the wolves here. You're making them eligible for huge subsidies. We simply can't afford this law. The fact that this was going to reduce the deficit is a total fiction. This is going to cost trillions of dollars, and we simply can't afford it. We're already bankrupting our country.
We're going to leave it right there. Doctor, one
Senator
final
Ron
question.
Johnson.
I got this cat
Okay,
right back here.
Dr. Stephen Manuel, you are a sweet, angry curmudgeon.
No one
You're
calls it.
a TV talk
Sweet
to the
and
Morning
angry.
Joe
You know, the
style.
first time he came on, he was
Yes.
like, I believe that health care
I
for
know.
all
I've
Americans
loosened up
are
with you,
important.
Joe.
Now look at this. He's like Ari. Ari's like him. You can see where it goes.
Oh, God, I'm tired. You guys make me tired. All right.
Senator, thank you for being here.
Enjoyed it.
Great debate.
We're going to give you combat.
Great debate.
And I got more graphs.
More
I'm
graphs.
sure you
okay.
do.
I love the colors.